What are the main hearsay exceptions in evidence? Imagine being in a courtroom where every statement made outside of court is automatically considered unreliable and inadmissible. That would make it nearly impossible to establish facts and ensure justice. However, the law recognizes that certain statements made outside of court can be trustworthy and relevant enough to be admitted as evidence. These are known as hearsay exceptions. Hearsay refers to an out-of-court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. Generally, hearsay is inadmissible because it lacks the opportunity for cross-examination, which is essential for testing reliability. Nonetheless, courts have identified specific situations where the risks are minimal, and the evidence is deemed trustworthy enough to be accepted. One of the most common exceptions is statements made by a party to the case. These are called admissions and are considered reliable because the party who made the statement has a vested interest in its truth. For example, if a defendant admits to being at the scene of a crime, that statement can be used against them. Another significant exception involves spontaneous statements, often called excited utterances. These are statements made under the stress of excitement caused by a startling event. Because they are made immediately after the event, they are less likely to be fabricated, and courts often admit them to establish facts related to the incident. Declarations against interest are also recognized as hearsay exceptions. These are statements that a person made which were against their own financial or legal interest at the time they were made. Because such statements are unlikely to be fabricated when they are against one's own interest, courts tend to accept them. Dying declarations are another important exception. These are statements made by a person who believes they are about to die, concerning the cause or circumstances of their death. Courts consider these statements highly trustworthy because the person making them has little incentive to lie when facing death. Business records are also admissible under specific conditions. If a record was made in the regular course of business at or near the time of the event, and it was kept in the ordinary course of business, courts often admit these records as evidence. This exception recognizes the reliability of routine documentation. Finally, statements made for medical diagnosis or treatment are accepted because they are made to healthcare providers for the purpose of receiving medical care. These statements are considered trustworthy because they are made with the intent to assist in diagnosis and treatment. In summary, hearsay exceptions are carefully crafted to balance the need for relevant evidence with concerns about reliability. They include statements made by parties, spontaneous utterances, declarations against interest, dying declarations, business records, and statements for medical purposes. Each exception has specific criteria designed to ensure that only trustworthy out-of-court statements are admitted into evidence.